When I was younger, I would open my eyes and I'd be turned a completely different direction from when I started. So I've seen a big change.
From the very first moment Jamal Roberts stepped onto the American Idol stage, it was clear this wasn't just another contestant chasing fame. No over-the-top outfits, no gimmicks, just a man with a microphone and a message. Behind his soulful voice was a much deeper story, one woven from fatherhood, faith, and a fierce desire to lift up a forgotten town. Every note he belted out carried the weight of 2 young daughters, a classroom full of students, and a Mississippi community that desperately needed something or someone to believe in. And by the time the finale aired on May 18, 2025, Jamal wasn't just a finalist. He was the frontrunner America didn't know it needed. When Ryan Seacrest called his name as the winner of Season 22, the crowd erupted, but Jamal. He dropped to his knees in disbelief, clutching his daughter's harmony and lyric with tears streaming down his face. It wasn't just a victory, it was a moment. A soul-shaking reminder that greatness doesn't always wear glitter or walk red carpets. Sometimes it shows up in a school gym carrying a whistle and a dream. But who is Jamal Roberts behind the spotlight? What struggles did he overcome? And what did he walk away with after winning one of the biggest singing competitions in the world? Buckle up, because Jamal's journey wasn't built on shortcuts, hype, or viral moments. It was built on something far more powerful: heart. And what happened after that emotional finale might just surprise you. Before the lights, the cameras, and the roaring applause, Jamal Roberts was just Mr. Roberts, a 27-year-old physical education teacher at Crestwood Elementary School in Meridian, Mississippi. A town most Americans have never heard of, filled with hardworking families, real struggles, and even bigger dreams. While other aspiring singers were chasing record deals in LA, Jamal was teaching kids how to do jumping jacks, tying shoelaces, and whistling kids back in from recess. But behind the whistle and gym mats, there was a voice powerful, soulful, and forged in gospel. Raised by his grandparents, one a bishop and the other a deacon, Jamal grew up in a household where church wasn't just a Sunday ritual, it was the heartbeat of the home. Music surrounded him from the moment he could walk. By the age of 2, he was already belting out songs inspired by Michael Jackson and the Temptations, performing in front of anyone who would listen, most of the time church pews and stuffed animals. And while the world first met him on Idol, his journey had started long before. He once competed on Bet's gospel show Sunday Best back in Season 9. He didn't win, but he walked away with something even more valuable: experience. That moment taught him that talent alone wasn't enough. It was about timing, storytelling, and showing up when the moment called. And Jamal, he never stopped preparing for that moment, even when life pulled him toward lesson plans instead of recording studios. But as fate would have it, that moment was about to arrive under the blinding lights of American Idol. When Jamal Roberts walked into the New York audition room for American Idol, there was no viral TikTok moment, no grand backstory montage, just a quiet man with nerves, soul, and a deep connection to the song he was about to sing. And then he opened with Rick James' funk classic Mary Jane. Now, most contestants would have played it safe, something slow, something tear-jerking. Not Jamal. He came to make a statement. And within the first few lines, jaws dropped. Luke Bryan leaned forward. Lionel Richie nodded with a look only legends give when they recognize another. Carrie Underwood, she lit up like someone just handed her a Grammy. One by one, the judges gave him a resounding yes. There were no gimmicks, just grit, groove, and gospel-tinged soul poured into every word. In that moment, Jamal didn't just earn a golden ticket to Hollywood. He earned the respect of 3 music giants. But more than that, his performance hinted at something rare, a contestant who wasn't chasing fame but purpose. Behind the funk and fire was a story that hadn't even begun to unfold. As the golden ticket sparkled in his hand, few watching at home could have guessed just how far this PE teacher from Meridian would go. But for Jamal, that was just day one. Hollywood Week is where dreams go to either soar or silently fade, and Jamal Roberts wasn't planning to fade. Fresh off his bold audition, he arrived with something to prove, and boy, did he deliver. His choice? Her Heart by Anthony Hamilton, a song soaked in emotion and vulnerability. He didn't just sing it, he lived it. Every note was like a confession, and when he hit the final line, the room didn't clap right away. They just stared, silent. Then the applause came, slow, then roaring. Judges were visibly moved. In that moment, Jamal transitioned from contestant to storyteller. And if Hollywood was the proving ground, then Hawaii was the gamble. At Disney's Aulani Resort, Jamal picked Liar by Jelly Roll, an emotionally raw track with a haunting edge. It was a risky pivot away from soul, and fans online buzzed, "Is this the right move?" But Jamal wasn't chasing comfort zones, he was chasing connection. He poured grit, pain, and conviction into every word, and in a twist of Idol history, Jelly Roll himself reacted, saying Jamal's version hit harder than the original. That moment didn't just silence doubters, it solidified Jamal as a frontrunner. Not because he played it safe, but because he never did. By the time the top 12 rolled around, Jamal had already wowed judges and fans alike, but nothing could have prepared America for what happened next. His song of choice, Shout by the Isley Brothers, a bold, upbeat track packed with energy, and Jamal brought it all. Footwork, stage presence, and vocals that brought the house down. The performance alone would have been enough to secure his spot. But then came the moment that melted millions of hearts across the country. As the final notes rang out, his two daughters, Harmony and Lyric, ran on stage and wrapped their tiny arms around him. Jamal scooped them up mid-bow, smiling through tears. The crowd lost it. Viewers flooded social media with reactions like, "This is what Idol is all about, and I'm not crying, you're crying." It wasn't just a performance anymore, it was a family story unfolding in real time. For Jamal, this wasn't just a stage, it was a legacy he was building for his girls. That viral moment didn't just trend, it transcended. In that instant, Jamal wasn't just a contestant. He became America's dad, the kind of contestant people root for with their whole heart. Disney Night, it's the Idol tradition where dreams soar or crash and burn in high definition. And for Jamal Roberts, it almost leaned toward the latter. The theme, reinvent a Disney classic, his pick, Beauty and the Beast. At first, it seemed like an awkward mismatch. He didn't feel connected to the song, and it showed. During rehearsals, Jamal struggled to make it his own. The magic just wasn't there. Behind the scenes, fans worried this might be his first big stumble. But then came the twist. Guest mentor Lin-Manuel Miranda, yes, Hamilton Lin-Manuel, stepped in. Instead of forcing Jamal to bend to the song, Miranda encouraged him to bend the song to his voice. That changed everything. Jamal reworked the classic into a smooth R&B ballad, layering it with soul, vulnerability, and velvet-toned vocals. The result, a complete reinvention. When he hit the stage, it wasn't just a cover, it was a transformation. Lionel Richie called it a stroke of genius. Viewers on social media dubbed it the best flip of the night. What was once a near disaster became a defining moment. In true Jamal fashion, he didn't run from the challenge, he remixed it, reimagined it, and rose even higher. And just like that, the underdog became a frontrunner once more. If there's one thing Jamal Roberts made crystal clear throughout his Idol journey, it's that you can't box him in. Gospel, check. R&B, effortless. Country, surprisingly flawless. Every week, producers tried to challenge him with different genres, hoping to find a weak spot. But Jamal didn't flinch, he adapted, elevated, and delivered. When he tackled Undo It by Carrie Underwood, many expected him to stumble in the country lane. Instead, he brought southern grit and bluesy swagger, earning Carrie herself a proud smirk at the judges' table. A few rounds later, he tackled Sam Cooke's legendary anthem, A Change Is Gonna Come, and it wasn't just a vocal showcase. It was a statement. Every word he sang carried the weight of his journey, his community, and his vision for something bigger than a record deal. The beauty of Jamal's run wasn't just his voice, it was his ability to bring authenticity to every style thrown his way. Judges repeatedly commented, "He doesn't sing songs, he owns them." Fans were hooked not just because he was good, but because they never knew what he'd do next. In a season full of vocal acrobats and safe choices, Jamal stood out by doing the hardest thing, being real no matter the genre. May 18th, 2025. The American Idol stage was set, the lights dimmed, and 3 finalists remained: John Foster, Brianna Nix, and Jamal Roberts. Each brought talent, each brought heart, but Jamal, he brought a lifetime. A lifetime of being the underdog, the teacher, the single dad with a dream bigger than any stadium. His final performances weren't just crowd pleasers, they were soul messages. He opened with Just My Imagination by The Temptations, tapping into his childhood musical roots. The nostalgia, the control, the velvet tone, it was like watching a masterclass in storytelling. Then came Time Bends, a hauntingly intimate piece that showcased his dynamic range and emotional command. But it was his coronation song, Heal, that sealed his fate. The lyrics mirrored his entire journey, struggle, redemption, and a higher calling. As the final note rang out, the crowd stood in silence for a moment before erupting into cheers. Ryan Seacrest held the envelope, and when he announced Jamal Roberts as the winner of Season 22, the reaction was electric. Jamal collapsed in joyful disbelief, clutching Harmony and Lyric in his arms, their tiny hands on his tear-streaked cheeks. For Meridian, Mississippi, it wasn't just a win, it was history. Jamal became only the 4th Mississippian to ever reach Idol's top 3, and the first to win while representing not just talent but community. It was the culmination of years of faith, hustle, and sacrifice. But if fans thought the story ended there, they were wrong. For Jamal, the finale was just the beginning. Winning American Idol might look like the finish line, but for Jamal Roberts, it was the launch pad. Sure, there was the confetti, the standing ovation, the emotional group hug, but behind the scenes, the real rewards were just beginning to roll in. First up, the recording deal. Jamal signed with Hollywood Records, unlocking access to top-tier producers and the backing of a major label. Industry insiders estimate his immediate cash prize could range between $125,000 and $250,000, enough to change his life, but not nearly as valuable as the platform he now holds. And speaking of platforms, his Instagram at official Jamal Roberts exploded, from a few thousand local followers to over 139,000 and counting. Brands have already reached out for sponsorships. Touring opportunities are on the table. Even daytime talk shows and network specials are reportedly courting him, but the most powerful endorsement came before the confetti even hit the floor. Luke Bryan told People magazine, "My gut tells me Jamal has a huge career ahead of him. That kind of backing, you can't buy it. What fans are really waiting for now is his debut album. With his gospel roots, R&B soul, and country undertones, there's no telling what direction he'll take, but one thing's certain, it'll be uniquely Jamal. While other winners chase trends, Jamal's about to carve his own lane. And if the past is any clue, that lane will lead straight to the top. But fame isn't the only thing Jamal's after, and what he plans to do with this new power might just be more impactful than a #1 hit. For Jamal Roberts, winning Idol wasn't just about charting songs. It was about changing lives, starting with the two that matter most, his daughters' harmony and lyric. As a single father, every choice he made on stage was rooted in love and legacy. And offstage, he's still very much the same man who clocked in every morning at Crestwood Elementary, whistle around his neck, coaching kids on more than just push-ups. He's coaching them on dreams. Jamal never shied away from talking about where he came from, Meridian, Mississippi, a town with big heart, deep scars, and communities affected by crime and poverty. In interviews, he's spoken openly about wanting to give back, to shine a light on the kids who feel invisible, to create music programs and mentorships for those who need a way out or maybe just a way forward. Fame hasn't changed him, it's amplified him. That's why fans connect so deeply. He's not trying to be perfect. He's trying to be present. He shares real moments on social media, balancing studio sessions with bedtime stories and reminding the world that you can chase greatness without leaving your roots behind. With 139,000 followers and rising, his voice now reaches far beyond Mississippi, and he's using it. Tour offers are stacking up, brands are calling, TV networks are knocking, but Jamal, he's still focused on purpose. And while others might compare him to past Idol legends Jennifer Hudson, Carrie Underwood, Jamal's carving a lane that's all his own. His story isn't just about a voice, it's about values, about showing America that greatness doesn't always come from glitzy cities or viral fame. Sometimes it comes from a classroom, a church pew, a late-night lullaby to two little girls. And with the world watching, Jamal Roberts is just getting started.